Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Simsation Nation. As the same way I do every single week, I freaking get so excited about the topic. I get so excited about the guest. This one has been a long time in the making. I'm smiling right now because I'm finally able to actually get this gentleman onto the podcast, onto this platform to really just, one, show his face, but just talk about his journey, talk about his destination. So this is a topic I've had written on my whiteboard for quite some time. It's a journey, not the destination, or journey versus the destination. And again, I'm like, man, who's the best person to talk about it? I wanted this gentleman to come on my podcast. That was like freaking hands down, no brainer. But it was like, which topic do I have him talk about? And it was just perfect combination of having this gentleman who has been on an amazing journey, who is headed to an amazing destination, to come on and talk to you all about the journey versus the destination. So I'm going to read a little bit from his bio, introduce him, welcome him to the show, and then we're going to hop right into it. So the person that I'm having to come on to my show today to talk about the journey versus the destination is a Lieutenant Colonel Gilberto Perez. I try to roll my R's. I don't know how good I did, but he goes by Coach, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But Lieutenant Colonel Perez is the commander of the 502nd Communications Squadron, Joint Base San Antonio, Texas, the largest communication squadron in the Department of the Air Force. So I just want you to reflect on that for a second. The 502nd Comm Squadron provides engineering, acquisition, management, and maintenance of over $9 million in integrated base-wide communication system in support of 20 wing equivalents and 267 mission partners at the Department of Defense's largest joint base. That's what he does. That's not necessarily who he is, which is a whole different topic for a whole different day. But he is also, not only is he leading like the largest communication squadron in the Air Force, he is also a family man. He's got not one, not two, not three, but 4 amazing children: Penelope, Layla, Lorenzo, and Alexander. And he is married to Angeline of Tampa, Florida. So without further ado, I don't want to steal all of his thunder. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Coach.
Well, first of all, thanks, Shooter. I truly appreciate it. No lie, you're right. It's been a long time coming. We both have a passion for developing people, and I couldn't thank you enough to be a part of your platform. Longtime follower, and I love the body of knowledge that you bring and the energy that you bring to this. And so, thank you for the lengthy intro. Yeah, that's definitely a part of the story. I think the other aspect is I'm a first generation American. Both my parents immigrated from Cuba, and so that kind of set the tone of why my appreciation for the American way of life and the reason why I serve today. The other part is not only is Angeline my wife, but we've been together since the 8th grade.
Wow.
And so that relationship has, of course, you're different when you're in middle school, high school, college, as a junior professional, and with all of our kids. And so I think that relationship has grown, and so that's part of the story and the journey and my support system and the person that makes me a better person. And similar to you, I have this passion for service to our community, not only our local hometown, not only our functional community within the cyber and IT, but also for our military and Department of Defense. And so feel very fortunate. We have a lot of alignment there, and then kind of been doing this while I joined the Air Force in 2002. I've been kind of a career communication, IT cyber professional for almost 18 years. And it's been an awesome experience, and I feel very fortunate.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. You got me and my wife beat. My wife and I started dating off and on in high school. We've been married for a very long time. In fact, if you meet us as a couple, most of the time she'll tell you the same thing, that we're high school sweethearts, not high school sweethearts. Because some days, are sweeter than others, obviously. But the fact that you've been with your lovely bride since the 8th grade says a lot about you as well. That's part of your journey. That right there actually is included in your journey, and the kids that you all have created, which are going to create more journeys and more destinations, so on and so forth. So one of the questions that I had asked to me, which is why I described it the way I did when I read your paragraph, I feel like it's important for people to know what our guests do professionally. But that's not all that they do. It's not all who they are, because we are all multi-layered. We're all multifaceted. We see each other in uniforms as we pass each other down the halls and things like that. And, we see what we see on their uniforms. You can almost analyze and read, a person's journey just by looking at their uniform. Oh, he's got a joint staff badge. Oh, he's commanded before. Oh, he's got a meritorious service medal. Like, we can do it in no time, but that's just not all who we are. That's part of our journey, but it's not all of our journey. So I wanted to kind of highlight the fact that you are a family man as well. One of the questions that was asked to me a while back was, who are you? That was the question that was asked to me. If someone were to ask you that question, how would you answer it?
I think if someone were to ask me, I would say that I'm a servant leader to my community, and my community being not only my family nucleus as part of that community, my hometown, any parts of these associations. And so I've really talked to and really said, similar to what you've just talked about, those medals, the badges, those things. I always tell people, like, you're a walking billboard, and being a walking billboard means that you represent something more than yourself. You represent all those relationships that you have met along the way. And so when I think of myself, I think what you see in front, like, as we're discussing, is so much bigger than just me as an individual. I'm an accumulation of all those relationships and those experiences that I've had up to this point. And so when I look at my journey, I really feel it's this ongoing process of our life stories. And we've got wins, we've got setbacks, we've got losses, so places where we've learned. But I think for me personally, I hope that what they say is he's a good person. And a lot of times, when I talk to my kids, I said, just be good. And what that means to me is, and I always tell them, I was like, you got to think good, you got to say good, and you got to do good. And that's in all aspects of your life, and all those titles that you have. Doesn't matter if we said it, you're serving in the military, those positions that you're in. If you're a husband, you're a wife, you can go as a parent, all those different hats. But at the end of the day, is trying to be good.
Trying to be good. I even see the sign behind you, good, better, best. I know there's more to that sign. I've seen that written before. So you talk about good, better, best with regard to your journey and the way that you're raising your kids to, just really be good. If one of your kids, I'll pick a random kid. If let's just say if you're sitting in the living room and Lorenzo comes up to you and says, what is a journey? How would you define journey?
I would define it as really looking at those life stories. I think it's every moment, and I think those are the key parts of the journey. Is you have to be present and you have to live in the moment. And so I think of, sometimes it starts early, but it starts from the very beginning. And what I would probably talk to Lorenzo a little bit about is, I would say, I want you to know your history. I want you to know about your struggles of your grandparents, and what it took for them to come here. Understand the grind, understand how beautiful this country is, because I used to hear about stories of what it is to live in a communist country. I would talk about, he's also our hometown of Tampa, Florida, where there's a lot of people there that love you. got like 10 houses on the same block. And so me being in the military, we're not, we don't see as many, especially like in my family, because we have such a tight knit community. Everybody is really within driving distance. So in the same zip code, mostly everyone. But and now he's starting to see that now that being kind of this military brat, that's part of his story too. Not only you got the sacrifice and serving, and so I think those were like different components that help build him up at kind of his starting line. And I think once he knows that, he's starting to build his own. And it's been beautiful because I'll tell you a proud parent moment. Like even this week was, in school he won the most respectful, and then in soccer he was like best sportsmanship or Mr.
Wow.
Sportsmanship. And I was like, as a parent, I would say how proud I am of not just the wins that we talk about, reaching those goals, being the best at any one of those things. But I think about being good, being a good person, that those achievements right there is indicative that we'll go a long way. And we've all been there in a lot of organizations, we've met a lot of different people, and there's people that get it, and there's others that they're still learning and they're still growing. And so that's kind of what I would kind of talk to them about.
I also, after having done some homework on you, I know that you are pursuing a doctorate of education. Is that accurate?
It is. It is. I will. I'm through the University of Southern California, and it's in organizational change and leadership. Started it back in 2021, and this was the whole reasoning for me doing this was my grandfather only had a third grade education, and he really wanted to go to school, but the cards weren't in his favor. But his win was getting us to the United States. And then my parents' win as graduating high school and eventually college. And so for me, it's something personal. My middle name I'm named after him. So finished the classes, but still need to kind of do the dissertation portion of it. It's been kind of a difficult struggle because, as you know, there's all these different things that are levied as part of your journey. And so I want to make sure that I'm present with my kids, with my wife, and with the people that I'm leading day in and day out. And so I found it to be challenging these last couple of years, just being in certain positions and where they're at in their life. But I've truly enjoyed that program. It's really been a defining moment for me. It has allowed me to reflect more on what does it mean when you go through this program. I'll never forget, they made me do a failure resume. I was like, oh my goodness, like I have never done that before. Because the beautiful thing about it was they said, what is your superpower is also your kryptonite. And so you have to be very cautious on that. And so I learned a lot myself in that program. I'm looking forward to really seeing mentoring as a retention strategy and kind of studying that for a lot of our female Air Force cyber officers. And so that's going to be what I'm going to be delving into in the next year. But yeah, I've definitely enjoyed the program so far.
I salute you on that one. My wife, who has a doctorate of education as well, I watched her go through her journey, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let that be your journey and not mine. So I salute you. I salute you for that because it's huge. It's a very big deal. And what I've heard you say, though, is that you are, at that point where you've got to get the dissertation done, but you're enjoying the process, which is exactly what I would expect to hear from you, because you are enjoying the journey while you're also keeping your eyes on the destination. You're trying to get that doctorate, but you're also enjoying the journey. So if you were defending your dissertation, and let's just say one of the professors said, "Just relax, take it easy. It's okay. It's a journey. It's the journey, not the destination." What does that mean to you when you hear it's the journey, not the destination?
Yeah, when I think of it, the first thing that kind of comes into my mind is my grandmother. She would always say moment to moment. Like it didn't matter what was happening in life. She would just say moment to moment. Like you need to enjoy that part of wherever you're at, whether it's in athletics, it's in your profession. And so that's one of the biggest things that really resonates with me when I think of it's the journey is not only enjoy the process, but enjoy all those intricacies and use all your senses. Don't just think that don't try to get on the highway and take the fast track to get to the end state because you forget to look at the beauty of all the things of that grind and of that process. And then the other part would be really Air Force football defensive coordinator when I was playing, Coach Bell. He's the one that introduced me to good, better, best. And it goes like this. It's good, better, best, never let it rest till you're good as your better and your better is your best. And he would get us hyped up and it was one of those moments where he's like, you live a life of continuous improvement. Like we have not risen. We have not made it. Even in our best of days, whether you won or you've excelled, there's always this ability to critique yourself and get better. And so I think, how do we reflect on that? And so every organization I've been a part of, and whether it was neat because even as a lieutenant, all the way to a lieutenant colonel, doesn't matter. I've kind of pushed that out there because I truly believe in it. I think that I never want to say that because I made this position, I am a refined product. I am ready. I am always heavily critiquing myself to say, did what I communicated, did it hit the mark? Could I have done better in any type of form? And so I really, I would say those two things really resonate with me is that moment to moment and good, better, best.
You're not necessarily, what I'm hearing is you're not necessarily walking around pounding your chest, telling your family, I've arrived, I've made it. You understand that you are still traveling your journey. It's okay to look back and to look in the rearview mirror and to see how far you've come. But you haven't gotten to that point where it's like, all right, I'm just going to stop here. You're actually also looking ahead. Speaking of looking back, jersey number 55, Lido High School, retired jersey. Young coach, probably didn't know you were going to be coach at the time. You were being coached at that time. Did you know that you would be where you are today? Did you know how important your journey was going to be back when you were playing high school football?
I did not know at all. I think of, again, each of those moments, it's not until like years later that people have, come up to you. And it's so much and like so impromptu, so out of the blue and says, that conversation we had at this point, or did you know that when you did this, you really represented us, kind of like that walking billboard where it says, hey, here at now Leto High School, your football, all those different parts of you, that there was people associated with you during that time. They were your teammates, they were your coworkers. They were, you talk about your ride or die. Like you talk all these people that are with you through the grind. So your wins is their wins. And so I think when you take responsibility for that and you're like, oh man, but I honestly did not think that would be they would have such an impact until somebody kind of gives you that text message or that phone call and to me, it's well worth it. And you're living a good life.
Listen, speaking of living a good life and reflecting back on your own, right? I think what I heard you say earlier was that you are first generation American. You bear, I believe, your grandfather's middle name, if I remember correctly. You feel that, your family members were successful in getting you all to America to allow opportunities for you to be able to go out and do great things for yourself. Your family members didn't necessarily have the educational opportunities that you have had, which is what's driving you. It's driving you to go do some of the great things that they may not necessarily have had the opportunity to do. You successful in high school football, you go to and attend and graduate from and get distinguished graduate from the United States Air Force Academy. Huge deal. You've garnered several awards and badges. You've worked as a communications officer in the White House for White House Communications, right? And it's just like, man, wow, what a freaking journey. Having just listed just a few of those things, what would you say is the best part? What has been the best part of your journey thus far?
Absolutely. I think it's what hands down, it's the people. I mean, I can't, you know, I can't remember all the projects, the trophies, or the titles that I've had up to this point. But I can remember those like crucible moments that we had where there was a challenge in front of us, where we ensured that we had each other's back, and that we pushed ourselves to be better for each other. We held each other accountable to a higher standard. And we didn't try to just win there, but try to win in life. And I think those were, and I would say it starts, when I say people, I mean, not only is it the family nucleus of my grandparents, my parents, and my family. I'm also talking about my kindergarten teacher, Miss Inman, who had a profound impact on my life. Talking about my Little League coach, Jose Marrero, as well. I can talk about my mentor, Mr. Stanley Gray, there in Tampa, that kind of helped me figure out which academy I want to go to. Mr. Keys, that played with the 85 Bears, that really introduced me to a lot of football and community service. So there's all these people, and I would say even like, and then I started going in my professional career, and it was nice to see all the names that are on your podcast, because there's a lot of folks that are either my mentors or people I've looked up to, and they have provided these bodies of knowledge and has shaped me into the person I am today. And so this journey, sometimes you have to put yourself out there as well. Put yourself in these forums, these professional organizations, that allows you the ability to make a connection in a very meaningful way. And so, no kidding, the journey itself was not all the accolades. It is truly the people that we had a common purpose. We share the same value of trying to pursue excellence, and we held each other accountable. So that's the best part of the journey every day.
That's pretty awesome. People first, mission always. It's always about the people. And I'll date myself here a little bit. I just visualized, playing, Zelda or something like that, and you're trying to get to a destination. And every time you're on your way or you're on a path, you'll stop and you have to talk to this person, and they'll tell you, you may want to go do this, or you may want to pick up X, Y, and Z, right? You would not have reached your destination had it not been for those stops along the way. But what you just outlined was, you don't just remember the stops, you remember the people at the stops. And the fact that you were so easily able to just name these people off shows what a profound impact they have had in your life. And in turn, I see and witness you every day, whether you know it or not, paying it forward and doing the same things to other people and for other people that have been done to and for you. Hence, probably why you got the name Coach, which we'll kind of figure that out here in just a bit. But not everything is all roses. Not everything is all great. One of the pieces of advice that I received a few years ago was, I posted something that didn't go so well for me. And I have always been a proponent of sharing positivity, trying to drown out all the negativity so that, we can just set an example for other people, be an inspiration. And so people can go, man, that's good. That's motivating to me, so on and so forth. But I had a friend who was I was enlisted with. He messaged me on the side one day. He was a chief, and he said, hey, I'm really glad you shared that post. And it wasn't a good post. It was a post of, hey, this didn't work out for me. And I asked him why. He's like, it's just so good to humanize yourself. So people are always watching you and they see, wow, everything doesn't always line up for him either. And that resonated with me. So I asked you about the best part of your journey, and you've highlighted that it's the people. If you had to put a finger on it, what would you say has been the worst part of your journey thus far?
Yeah, I think the worst part would be, the growing pains of learning. Like, you just talked about it. It's those scar tissues of doing things the first time. And it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, it could be uh, when you got married, and what does it mean to be a spouse? When I became a dad, and I was like, oh, what does it mean to be a parent? When I became a first line supervisor, and like now supervising someone with that responsibility, and the first time that I took command as well. And so I think within those elements, it was the first time you've done something, you don't have the requisite body of knowledge. Even if you said, oh, we're all faking it till we make it. We are all trying to do the best with the resources that we have. We're always trying to, really advance and push forward. But as you talked about the story, you said, oh man, we've been together since the 8th grade. But I would tell you, we have grown together where, and we give each other and it could be things that you've said or you're doing that gives you shape your perspective. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And even from like with the kids, if you start getting too consumed with other parts of your life, they will let you know, and they will definitely humble you, and they will say what's on their mind. And being that supervisor, when you're supposed to help shape and provide a pathway, multiple pathways to kind of help them reach their goals, I don't necessarily know that I was educated on all the different opportunities that are out there to kind of say, you know what, I would recommend X, Y, and Z, or talk to this person. And so having done it for several years now I can at least say, all right, what are your passions? What are your results? And then it's an easy way to say, let's try to do X, Y, and Z. Not to say that it's perfect by no means, because we're always getting better, but at least we have a quicker jump off the starting line. And the same thing for command, where a lot of times for me was a growing pain because, a lot of times you learn about getting commander's intent and then leading your people. But I would say the first time was really the value of your peer network. Like, are you advancing their initiatives? How are you being more intentional with those? And so now doing it a second time around, I think I'm more excited to just kind of find out, more curious about what other people are doing and how can I support them. So it's the worst part while you're going through it, but I think that's why all leaders get scar tissues on them, because it's the first time they've been in a position where they've been uncomfortable, because they haven't done it before. There's a lot of unknowns. And so having a good network around you to kind of help, so it's kind of lessens the blow. But either way, it's still pretty tough either way.
This is probably debatable, of course, but it's my opinion. My opinion is that some of the greatest leaders are the ones that have been through some things and have overcome some things. That, again, is my opinion. Are there great leaders out there that may have not gone through any trying times? Yes, for sure. But I also feel that, that scar tissue that you talked about, those growing pains that you've overcome, it makes it a little easier and softens the blow a little bit when I'm talking to someone and mentoring someone, and I can say, hey, been there, got it. Here's what I was able to do. It may not work for you. It may work for you, but let me just show you right now what you're looking at in front of you is a person that has traveled that, has endured those growing pains. Here's my scar. It's healed up, right? You can still see it, but I'm still able to move, so on and so forth. So to your point about it being the worst part, we don't always like that pain sometimes. You've played football at the high school level. You've played it at the Air Force Academy, so on and so forth. We don't like the drills. We don't like the push-ups. We don't like all the conditioning that we have to do. But when we get to a point where we are able to shine on the field, we look back at that journey that we've traveled and say, man, I am so glad that I did blah, blah, blah. I didn't like that pain, but had I not done that, I wouldn't have been able to achieve what I achieved today. So again, I think that sometimes, it's okay for leaders to have experienced something and to share those experiences. What you alluded to as well, as you talk to people, you pull out those questions. It's like, well, what is it that you're trying to achieve? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? That just brings me to the question of call sign coach. They call you coach. Why do they call you coach?
Actually, my first assignment at in the Air Force was coaching football at the Air Force Academy. So that was my first assignment, and I would tell you that assignment has really uh, been. It's a very endearing call sign. It's a very endearing when folks call you that because you truly care about others and you're honest about your assessment with folks and you're helping people reach their end goal. And so a lot of times when you're playing, it's always easy to, people most of the time ask, do you miss the X's and the O's of the game? And I'll be honest with you, it's not that, but it's just watching when you get someone come in as a freshman and then watch them develop within 4 years and coach them up. It's the most beautiful thing when they have those aha moments, when things start clicking. And so what I took from that assignment, I have parlayed it throughout the rest of my career. And so the way I treated the players, and really genuinely care for them and making sure that they can reach their full potential. Everybody's going through something, and and ensuring that they have the resources to be better, to set the foundation, so that they can build upon. I love that part of it. And it doesn't matter. We all can't be the quarterback. We all can't be the lineman. We all can't be everybody has a role on the team. And that team orientation is the same thing. It doesn't matter what organization you're part of. Not everybody's the CEO. Not everybody's the general. Not everybody's the commander. Everybody has a role on the team. And that's what I loved about sports and coaching in general. And so I kind of take that every day into my job, or I try to, is to kind of look at the issue, let the issue be the issue. But at the end of the day, is that we're building the next generation of leaders. The generation of leaders, whether it's in the Air Force and the military, but also within the community, because we were only going to wear this uniform for so long. And so once you take off the uniform, I want you to continue to leverage those skills and, give back to your hometown, give back to wherever your neighborhood is. And so that was kind of the essence of how Coach came to be. And thank you.
I can hear it. I can see it now of why and how Coach came to be. It might have been, premised on football, but it bled over into other aspects of your life. Your ability to lead, your ability to mentor is the X's and O's of leadership in life. And so I feel that, you're a multifaceted coach. You have multifaceted levels of coaching on the field and off the field. And speaking of on and off the field, I'm going to circle it back to you again. We only scratched the surface with regard to your journey, because as we talk to people, we interact with people, as you mentioned, it's all about the people. It's the people that you remember the most. We haven't really delved too deep into your journey, but we've given enough to know that your journey has been a great one, so on and so forth. Where do you think your destination will take you?
As I think of whether I've reached the destination or I'm even close to reaching that destination, I would think that the late Kobe Bryant, when he said, "Job's not finished," and so I'm not sure where it's going to take me. I don't necessarily know that there's going to be a crescendo of a thing that I reach to this final destination, but hopefully each day is progress towards impacting others' lives, and I think that's the probably the thing that I see as a destination. If there were to be an end, is that I'm preparing people for their finest hour. I don't necessarily know what it's going to be, but there's going to be a time, whether you or I or the people that are around us, they're going to have their finest hour, and they're going to need to make sure they have the tools necessary to excel in that event. And it could be within your profession. It could be at home. All those different hats that we talked about that you're wearing, is that I hope that when called upon by your spouse, by your kids, by your superiors, by your organization, is that you're ready.
It's very good. I want to ask you now. I'm going to once again choose a random child of yours. Let's just say Penelope comes to you for some advice, for some coaching, some mentoring. And she just comes to you because kids have a way of presenting things to you in such a way that makes you think differently than what you would do to an airman. I know you've written things about, developing airmen today so they can be leaders tomorrow and things like that. But when it comes to children, it makes you adjust your approach a little bit, adjust your answer a little bit. But Penelope comes to you and she asks you something to the extent of a multi-layered question like, should I know what my destination is at this age in my life? How will I get there? Should I plan it out? Because, you talk about football. You start football in the beginning of the quarter, here are the goals I want to achieve. Basically, the destination is I want to win this game. Like I want a W on the tail end. Like what it's going to be, right? Mm-hmm. You're talking to young airmen, but in this case, young Penelope, and she asks you, hey, should I know what my destination is? Should I know how I'm going to get there at this age in my life? How would you answer that question?
I don't think that's really, as you've kind of alluded to, I would say, Penelope, as you need to follow your passions. I think and ensuring that those intangible things matter. Like, doesn't matter exactly which avenue you go towards. If it's in athletics, she's more of my creative child. And so she just draws beautifully and she enjoys building things with rubber bands and these loom sets. And so follow your passions and keep challenging yourself. Challenge yourself to keep leveling up, keep trying to, and then not only that, but how are you helping your community overall? And so I think we all have gifts. She has a gift. Now, how are you using those gifts for good? And sometimes you have to try different things. And I will tell you, even all those things that have happened in my journey, those things that we thought were destinations, whether it's in athletics or it's even serving in the military, I've found out that whenever you think you get to that top notch of that area, that it was never about what you thought it was about. It was never about the wins. I went 0-10 in high school, and I would tell you that built a lot of character as an individual. And the same thing too, as I was serving in the military, is that everybody has a higher purpose in life. And I think understanding that, it's not always about what you do, but I think you should always keep challenging yourself, keep leveling up, helping others, doing good. That will go a long way because everybody is pivoting all the time. And that's okay. Everybody has a different story. I have not found someone with the same exact story. I enjoy reading bios. I enjoy all those components, and people pivot at different times. Mm-hmm. Even the most successful people have started potentially like later in life, or started earlier. And so there is no right way. But I think if your heart's in a good place, I think you have endless possibilities.
I love it. I appreciate you for sharing that perspective. And one of the YouTube pastors that I watch on YouTube, Pastor Darius Daniels, he said the other week, he said, there's a lot of things that you can do, but what is it that you're called to do, right? There's a lot that we can do, but what are you called to do? And I think that if you follow your passions, that's going to help you really help you enjoy your journey along the way and not necessarily just focus on the destination per se. And as you mentioned, we are all walking stories. All of our stories are out there. It's up to you to share them how you see fit before someone else does. So I think that's just a beautiful aspect to this whole journey of life, if you will. So thank you for entertaining that question. I want to offer opportunity right now for you to provide any type of closing thoughts, any final comments to someone out there who's struggling to try to find that balance of always focused on the future. Because myself, I'm very goal oriented. I'll self-proclaim I'm very goal oriented. It's like, okay, I want to complete this thing. Here are the milestones. I'm going to do it to do it, and I'm going to do it in this time. Sometimes I have lost sight on enjoying the process and enjoying the journey because I was so focused on trying to get to the end. What kind of advice do you have for folks that have thought the way or think the way that I thought at one point with regard to just enjoying the journey?
No, absolutely. A couple of things I would kind of put out there is be curious. I think reading people's like stories allows you to kind of see the art of the possible, and whether you can build off what's already been done. There's a lot of great leaders out there that have done a lot of great things. And so I think there's a part of where you can continue to share that narrative and keep pushing forward. But at least it gives you open to kind of widen the aperture about what is out there. The other part I would say is be intentional. Understand that you are a walking billboard, accruing patches along the way. And so as you see those patches, really hold dear to it because you represent something much more than yourself. It's the accumulation of all those experiences and all those people that you're connected to. But also, too, I would say is look towards the future. What patches are you looking for? What do you want to be associated with? Whose podcast do you want to be a part of? Whose book do you want to be a part of? Who's part of their narrative? So you can learn and we can grow. And then kind of really towards the end is live in the moment. That good, better, best mindset of continuous improvement allows you to never be stagnant, never be happy with the status quo, because you're always reflecting and always finding ways to be better. And the last part is really Albert Einstein's quote, I think really just resonated with me is strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. And so as you're living your life, how are you creating value for your community, for the people that are around you, your organization? I think if you can do that, that will help in your journey and or searching for that, enjoying the journey, finding the destination as well. And thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah. And
I also want to say before I do got your handy dandy book. So I'm looking to hopefully one day I can get a signed copy when we finally meet sometime.
Consider it done.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Well, I have to look you in the face right now, my friend, and tell you, with that Albert Einstein quote, you are certainly adding value in the world and in the community. You are also successful. But I think the reason you are successful is because of the fact that you're focusing on adding value to the lives of the people that you are able to touch. So as a success, as a value-added member of the community, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy day and away from your family and things like that. And I respect it. One of the reasons, I know we talked about it at the beginning of this episode, but one of the reasons it took some time for us to align to record this is because you put your family first, as you should. And you said, hey, so-and-so's got a soccer game this day, so on and so forth. I thought that was awesome, and I respect that. And to me, that sets the example. So I wanted to share that out there for people that are watching and or listening, because, again, there's a lot of things you can do, but what are you called to do, right? You're called to be a father to your kids and to be present for your kids. You fill in the gaps with everything else. So I respect that and I appreciate it. I know you have seen some of the other episodes, so you know what's coming next. So before I end this episode, I want to ask you 10 questions on what do you prefer. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready. Game on.
All right. Question number 1. You can strike off either Monday or Friday from your work week. Which one do you choose?
Monday.
Number 2, would you rather have $20,000 or actually 2 million Instagram followers?
20,000.
20,000 or 2 million Instagram followers?
Gosh, that's a great question. Let's go with $20,000.
$20,000. Any reason why?
No, Honestly, I think I would just leverage it to kind of better the community. We have a scholarship. I would probably use it towards that.
The Perez scholarship, right?
The-
See, I did my homework on you, man. Number 3, as a fellow cyber officer, you could probably appreciate this a little bit. They call us nerds and geeks, so on and so forth. But number 3, would you rather talk like Yoda or breathe like Darth Vader?
Oh, breathe like Darth Vader.
That's a good one. I like it. Number 4, would you rather live in a tiny apartment in the city or a house in the middle of nowhere?
Oh, put me in the city. Put me in the city. Gotta be with the people.
Got to be with the people. It's about the people. It's about the people. Number 5, would you rather work a short shift of intense work or a long shift of relaxed work for the same pay?
No, I'd rather go shorter.
So likewise, it gives you time to get back to the family.
Absolutely.
Number 6, would you rather become a chess grandmaster or an elite kickboxer?
Oh man, gosh, I haven't done either one of those, so I think I'd be happy with either one. But I guess I'll go with the chess grandmaster.
There we go. That's a tough one to choose from. All right, number 7, which would you choose? Being the best at a terrible job or being the worst at your dream job?
Oh man, probably worse at my dream job. But hopefully I got opportunities to get better at it.
Boom. I've heard someone answer it that way before. Good answer. Number 8, which would you rather be? A great boss, but a terrible human being, or a bad boss, but a great human being?
I'm going to have to go with a great human being, and I can work to be a better boss.
Boom. You're killing it, man. I love it. Number 9, would you rather play the main character in a bad movie or a supporting role in a good movie?
Oh, hands down, supporting character.
Let's go. Let's go. Last but not least, would you rather never listen to old music again or never listen to new music again?
Can you read that again?
Would you rather never listen to old music again or never listen to new music again?
Oh, goodness. I guess I'll go with the never listen to the old one. Just keep moving forward. I'll be a futurist. It's like the best is coming.
I like it. I like it. I think you might be the first person to answer it that way, and I haven't heard it answered that way before. Most people go, "Oh, this new stuff's garbage. Give me the old music." That kind of thing.
They can only get better.
There you go. There you go. So, Coach, listen, man. First of all, thanks for playing along with the quick game there. But more importantly, thank you for your time again, for coming on the show, sharing your wisdom, sharing your perspective, and talking about your amazing journey for one, but helping others figure out how important it is to just enjoy your journey while you're focusing on the destination. I really appreciate that.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me. Truly
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time on Simsation Nation, I'm out.